Hey guys, it's your boy 14 Fluffies here today with a discussion video between two very similar cards. I wouldn't say very similar cards, but two cards that are seeing play in Heroes. One being Elemental Hero Neos Alius, and another being Elemental Hero Prisma. So today is a bit of a discussion between the pros and cons of these cards and why you should run one over another. So let's start off with Neos Alius, shall we? Obviously, the first big pro to it is the fact that it's a 1900 normal summon, so it's a very big normal summon, and it's fairly difficult to get over. And it also is a very solid out to things like Denko Sekka, since you can beat over it. But another thing about Neos Alias that is less known is the fact that it is actually a Gemini, so that means when it is normal summoned, it is treated as a normal on the field and in graveyard. And in the past, it has been important to Bubble Beat because you played things like Hero Blast and Gemini Spark. And you obviously maxed out on Neos Alias just because you played those cards at 3. So, obviously Neos Alias had a ton of utility back in the days of Bubble Beat. Obviously, this isn't Bubble Beat though, so he's largely lost favor, and a lot of hero players don't even play him anymore. And he has a lot of... and don't get me wrong, he has his disadvantages. Just because, one, he's a complete dead draw in Masked Heroes. You never want to... If you play Neos Alias, you never want to draw him. You always want to search him, and even then, he's the last hero you search anyway. Just because you want to get to your Bubbleman and whatever other utility heroes you're playing at the same time. And really, the reason why you never want to see him is just because he's completely useless. He has no utility whatsoever for that. He incorporates no utility to the deck whatsoever. But, yeah, really, he's just there as an extra search target and for making Koga, and that's it. And that's kind of like the overall beef about Neos Alias is the fact that he doesn't do anything for the deck. But if we talk about a card like Prisma, Prisma is different though. If we talk about what Prisma can do, Prisma gives you instant access to a card like Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which is very useful against your Cosmo matchup. So this card immediately has utility in just that one example. And not to mention, historically, Prisma has been splashed into decks like Gladiator Beast, like the TCG variants of Dark Magician and Buster Blader, just because you can reveal Dark Paladin. You can dump a Dark Magician or a Buster Blader into the graveyard, and this card's name becomes that respective monster. Which means if you're playing like Tamias Dark Magicians, you could dump a Dark Magician, this card's name becomes Dark Magician, and then you could just Tamias this for an Amulet Dragon or a Dark Paladin. So, that's just one example, but realistically, this card's main utility in Heroes now is just for Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, just because it has to reveal a card with a specific monster listed in its fusion material, and the card listed for Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon is obviously Cyber Dragon. So you would dump a Cyber Dragon from your deck to the graveyard, and then this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon. And obviously you don't main deck Cyber Dragons in Heroes just because, really, you're siding them just because you don't expect to run into only Cosmo. And just because Cyber Dragons would be completely dead in the main deck anyway. And because obviously it has that utility against that Cosmo matchup, it's not a completely dead card to draw. So, and not to mention it also loads up your graveyard, so if you're playing like a Chaos variant, if you're sighting in 2 Cyber Dragons in a BLS, you could definitely make a BLS live with Prisma. Just because you're loading up lights into the graveyard. And not to mention you're always going to have a dark in the graveyard because of Shadow Mist. So, yeah. If you're playing a Chaosy variant, Prisma is definitely a good thing to run, just because it gets your engine started. But mostly it's just because it is, in fact, a searchable out to the Cosmo ships. As far as the cons to Prisma, Prisma has no actual utility if you don't main deck the cards to actually dump with Prisma. So if you don't main deck the Cyber Dragons, there's almost no difference between these two. So other than the fact that this one's 200 more attack, but yeah, I mean if you're not maining the Cyber Dragons, these two are practically the same thing. So just keep that in mind. And extending that logic, if you're not running into machine decks, this card might as well also just be this, because it's absolutely useless. It offers no utility to the matchup. But yeah, But the main reason why I think that Prisma is better than Neos Alias is because it helps out with Hero's worst matchup, which is Cosmo. Just because Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon is probably still one of the best cards that hurts them, other than Iron Wall. But yeah. And based on that, I conclude that my opinion is that Elemental Hero Prisma is a better card than Neos Alius for this particular format. So, yeah, tell me what you guys think. I want to know what your opinions are on this topic. I mean, it is kind of nice considering how Neos Alius isn't out to things like Denko and he's a big normal summon, but I just like the fact that, well, Prisma has extra utility for certain matchups. But yeah, that's enough of that spiel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.